everyone, welcome to another episode of Tribe Talks. We have Sharmada Venkat here with us today. She's a sport nutritionist, and we've been talking about very interesting topics, starting from perfectionism, sports nutrition in general, injury recovery, and all of that. And finally, we come to a point where we're going to talk about building sustainable high performance through nutrition. And it's very interesting because I think sport is all about performance, but I think very rarely do we look at sustainable high performance, isn't it? Performance is there, but sustainable high performance is a big question mark. So one thing I've noticed with athletes, especially recreational athletes, maybe not with professional athletes, is that they end up going with these fads, nutrition fads, and maybe perform for one competition, maybe not the other, and it's not sustainable. They probably even drop out of sport because of other physiological reasons, because of the nutrition plan, right? Or it's not even a nutritional plan, it's just a diet fad. How do you think an athlete's nutrition should look over a 10-year career?
I think sustainability is an important part of nutrition, irrespective of whether you're an athlete or not. And you see this yo-yo tendency, I think, in both populations, like the recreational population and the elite athletic population. I think number one is to sort of, again, if they're working with a nutritionist or working with a professional, it's important for you to emphasize on how food affects your long-term health also. I feel like when we look at performance nutrition or sports nutrition, you're looking at through a narrow lens and saying, okay, for the next competition, before, during, after, what are you supposed to eat? I think long term, in terms of where does this athlete come from, culturally, what are the foods that they're familiar with, or if they're training in a particular academy, what kind of foods are accessible to them, what do they feel like eating, right? And sort of keep emphasizing the importance of balanced diet. They are going to find a lot of supplements, they are going to find a lot of things on the internet, they are going to find like different kinds of, information, they're going to come to you with it. So it's important for you to tell them that this might work short term, it might work for the next week or so, or maybe for this tournament, but you have to look at fueling yourself for subsequent tournaments. An athlete's career is a long one, right? So you want to be that source of information and education for them, so that they build that sense of, okay, what I'm seeing on the Instagram is probably like a highlight. It's the highlight of someone, they're probably not even doing it.
For all you know.
For all you know, they're not doing it. So it's a matter of, I think, the people around them to bring about that, awareness.
Absolutely. Now, this is a very interesting question, mainly because we have very diverse cultures and our athletes do come from very, very, very different backgrounds as well. So how do you think family or societal norms and narratives have, worked on the ways people actually eat, athletes in specific? Because again, in some cultures, in a particular household, maybe they are, used to eating chapatis, and maybe the athlete is not okay with gluten, they're intolerant to gluten, and they may be very skeptical about avoiding it, right? So small things, or sweets, for example, again, in a lot of Indian households, sweets, I know the narrative is slowly changing, but sweets is the way to celebrate things. And of course, athletes do have stuff to celebrate. So how does this work?
I think, again, the distinction that I've seen in my practice with the athletic population is when something doesn't agree with their body, they're very aware of it. That because they're so body aware in general, right? They're able to pick up those signs and they're okay to make the swap. If a particular food item is not okay, they're okay to wean away from it, because after they wean away, they're seeing the positive. They're seeing the changes. But the problem in general, I think, is the cultural aspect of it. Not a problem, but I think it's important as a professional to respect the fact that people come from different backgrounds. They're culturally, again, India is very diverse, right? So you come from different eating patterns.
Correct.
And also, each household has a different way of eating and a different way of handling food and the language around food.
Correct, exactly.
So I think it's very important to screen everybody for it. What kind of approach are these people, having? For example,
I think this is where the intake also actually matters, right?
Exactly.
When
that I feel like is a very important part of the screening part of it, because if you don't understand that, let's say, a particular state eats a lot more ghee and milk than compared to, let's say, somebody from Tamil Nadu or somebody from a city, right? You need to understand that that is something staple for them, that is something available and economical for them. So that also comes into play.
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of factors because it's also a systemic thing, right? Like economic aspect of food, the traditional aspect of what they've been used
to, resources they have, the lifestyle they have,
and also more to do with how comfortable are they to make that change. And it should be gradual. If you want them to change their habits that they've grown up with from when they were young, it's important to make it a gradual change and not like a complete sudden one day overnight shift.
Absolutely. I guess this is where, again, I'm sure you would have heard a lot of people just say, okay, this is me, I'm a XYZ athlete, give me a nutrition plan, without actually getting into an intake or anything, right? And this is why it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It's that I think a plan can be given.
But it just may not be able to.
It's not sustainable. Like what we spoke about before, it's not a long-term sustainable
thing.
And I've seen this with, again, both the general population and athletic population, where you want a diet plan and you want it to work wonders for you, but you're not addressing your behaviors, you're not addressing your relationship and belief with food. Right? Which is what actually controls
the way you eat.
And what you eat. It's not just a chart on a piece of paper.
Absolutely. I completely agreed. What do you think is performance first nutrition?
I think a lot of people misunderstand sports nutrition to begin with, which is basically a performance first approach. Because we work primarily with an athletic population,
exactly.
A lot of people think that it's just what you eat before, during, and after, right? Like this is how you fuel your workout. This is how you, what you eat during your workout. This is how you recover. But I feel like people forget that we also take into account your health, like where your blood markers are at metabolically. Is this athlete healthy or not? And is that affecting their performance, right? Second is, again, weight management in a very holistic way, where you're not nitpicking on the smaller things, but you're looking at it from a performance angle. Hey, this person performs better at this particular weight range, so let's bring them to that in a very healthful way, not in a crash diet or a fad diet way. And then you have the performance aspect of it. So all of these intersect in like these circles in the center, and it's not just through a lens of before, during, and after, or just supplementing XYZ and saying, okay, your performance will improve. And you're also looking at it from a space of this particular sport has this demand. Let's say an aerobic sport, like let's say a marathon, will be very different from someone who plays a football or someone who, let's say, is a high jumper or a long jumper. So all of these work different systems in the body,
and they need different
nutrition interventions. So I think all of this into one intersecting point is like performance first nutrition.
I guess it's also very, very dynamic, right?
Very. Because I think it's also the calendars of athletes are pretty hectic on certain years. Then you have off season, so you can play around with the kind of interventions that you do. It doesn't have to be
a static boring one.
Exactly. A static, I wouldn't say boring, but a very static approach to the whole thing. It can be dynamic because you can play around with body composition. You can experiment with different interventions and see what works, what doesn't work in different stages of their
seasons.
Exactly, different stages of like where they're at in the competition.
Absolutely. Got it. If we were to design a psychologically safe nutrition culture, what do you think it will look like?
I think as a professional, the first thing you should do is listen to the person in front of you, whether it's an elite athlete or a recreational athlete or just someone who's coming to you for help. I think a lot of us listen in order to respond or react. Like we already have an answer in our mind, right? But I think for us to actually understand the patterns of somebody is to listen to the person in front of you without any answer in your mind. Actively listen to them and try to pick up things that maybe they themselves aren't seeing, right? Maybe they don't realize that they're eating a certain way or missing out on key things that's affecting their health in a negative way. So you want to listen and you want to create that space where they're able to confide in you if something goes awry. So if something, let's say something happens and they're eating too much, you shouldn't shame them or you shouldn't
I
make
was
them
just going to
feel.
say that, yeah, they shouldn't be feeling, or we can't put them in a place where they are feeling ashamed to speak
Yeah.
about this.
Or they're not
feel
feeling
guilty.
safe enough to open up to you.
Yeah,
Like you
exactly.
should be that first point of contact where they're calling you and
Yes.
saying, okay, I'm feeling a certain way and I think I ate too much. What do I do about it?
Yeah.
Not that, oh, if I tell her, she might say something.
Yeah,
good.
she might judge me for that.
So you shouldn't judge them. I think
Correct.
it should be a very non-judgmental, unbiased space where you're looking at them as humans.
Yeah.
Athletes at the end of the day are also humans where you're looking at them as, okay, fine. So you did something different.
Yeah.
Okay, let's work on it.
Yeah.
I think that space that you create for them to have dialogue with you, where they're able to open up to you, is what is the
matters.
Is what I think is the turning point in whether your intervention will work or not.
Yeah.
Like whether what you're saying has an effect on them, whether they respect your advice. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is where even tweaking the interventions, taking this into consideration, taking their opinions into consideration actually probably helps, because I've seen this quite a bit with psychology. So if I know that watching movies really help an athlete, our intervention would include a lot of movies, right? Movie recommendations. I guess it's just about getting to know the athlete a little more and making sure we have that space safe enough for them to actually open up and embrace their true authentic
You
self.
don't want it to be like a surface level intervention because that can work. But
how long
if you want to make a more stronger impact and build that relationship, I think being there for them, holding that unbiased, non-judgmental space is the
matters. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. What do you think happens psychologically when weight is tied to one's worth?
I think this is a very interesting question because we see this a lot in the general population and more so women. I think number one is that you're looking at your weight with like the sense of external validation, right? And your mood is dependent on that number on the scale. Like when the scale is tipping the way you want it to, you feel good, you feel attractive, you feel confident, right? And when the scale tips a little bit, maybe not in favor of you, you start feeling upset, anxious, you don't feel so good, and that also dictates the rest of your day, the mood for the rest of your day.
Absolutely.
The second thing that you start doing is that your self-love becomes very conditional, right?
If I eat this,
if I eat this, then I'm good. If I eat this, then I'm bad. I will wear this dress when I'm looking a certain way. Or I will save this outfit for when I become XYZ way. So everything becomes very conditional, and validation also you start seeking from an external space. You start expecting people to tell you how you look, and based on their response, again it dictates the rest of your mood and how you feel about yourself, right? Then you start splitting food as good and bad. You start assigning moral values to food.
Which they don't really expect. The food does not really expect.
The food, at the end of the day, should be looked at as a source of nourishment.
Fueling.
As a fuel and as something that makes your body feel good. So that you can do the rest of the things that you want to do in life with ease. So the minute you start assigning moral values to food, saying, hey, if I eat this, then I am good. If I do this, then I'm bad. And to other healthful behaviors also. If you exercise, don't exercise. If you sleep in maybe on a day and you miss like your workout.
Not productive enough.
Not productive enough, exactly. So I feel like all of this, again, makes it a very unstable relationship. And the sense of, I think, your goal or achieving your goal, you have to make peace with the fact that it's not going to be linear.
Correct.
There are going to be caveats, there are going to be obstacles, and like a vacation or a wedding or something that might maybe veer you a little bit away from it, but it's okay for you to get back like that. So absolutely. I think that's very important.
Got it. Yes.